So it's Little Red Riding Hood?
No, it's not Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Little Red Riding Hood.
No, it's not. Welcome back, Grimm brothers and sisters. Today, we have a true story of a girl who's found herself in a dire situation, with only her wits about her to escape a creature deep in the woods.
Yeah, it's Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay, it does sound kinda like it, but it's not.
My, what big eyes you have, Grandma.
Anyways, if you have a true or fictional scary story you'd like for me to share, to narrate, email me in the description below.
My, what big dentures you have, Grandma.
Oh, Mimic,
Yes, Grandma?
remember what we talked about earlier?
Shh.
That should work. Also, below I have a link to support the future of the channel. Moreover, to help fund a real film to watch the real world of the Grimms as they are. An R-rated version. Well, as close as I can get on YouTube. Now it's time to dim the lights and enter the world known as the Grimm Zone. This event took place when I was about 13. I'm 24 now. I'm a female and I have moved around a lot with my family as my dad was in the military. At the time, my family and I were living in Virginia, near the historic Triangle area. We lived on a military base that had a lot of wooded land, with a few roads through it for people to bike on, and for the standard military stuff. My family, some friends, and I would bike on these roads often. It was very relaxing, and as we traveled in a group, we weren't worried about coyotes or bears or anything. However, we kids were told very sternly to never go back on those roads without a parent, and to never, ever split from the group when biking. My best friend at the time and I chalked it up to them being afraid of us being hurt by hunters. The base often allowed hunters in to help take care of the crazy deer population, or to keep us away in case the military was doing their thing back there. We were on one of our bike rides, about 3 families in a group. My best friend and I started lagging behind, and eventually we were at the back of the group. As we rounded a corner, I kid you not, a snake fell from the tree branches above onto my handlebars. I naturally wrecked and freaked out, refusing to get back on my bike. I know, the temper tantrum of the century. My friend laughed and just rode off. The traitor. I stood there staring at my bike and then down the road, and back to my bike. I wasn't getting back on that thing and basically said screw it. Looking back as it was, we were not too far out. I knew the roads very well, even the gravel ones, because my dad would drive me around there in his Jeep. So I was confident as I walked back down the road and turned down a dirt road. As I'm walking down this road, I start hearing a rustling behind me. I shrug it off, thinking it was just a rabbit since we had seen quite a few on the ride. The rustling grew closer, and then past me, and then to the front of me, and then it stopped. I stopped and decided to bark to scare it off. Branches snapped in response, and I screamed and took off running. Classically, I run in the direction of my home, which was right by this thing. I hear a growl, but it wasn't like a dog growl. It was deeper, but I'm not sure how to describe this. Multiple pitches all rolled into one, and it was chilling. I ran like my life depended on it, and this thing just kept pace with me. Branches snapping and leaves rustling, and still deep enough in the woods that I couldn't make out what it was. The road curved sharply to the left, and my feet slid out from under me as I tried to take the turn. I ended up sliding off the road into a little ditch before the woods began. I'd say it was about a 3-foot grassy area off the road. As I scrambled to my feet, pretty sure I was crying, the thing's growl turned into a laugh. I bolted. I ran and I ran, but I didn't feel like I was getting any closer to home. After the curve, I should have seen the main road, but I didn't see it. Off to the left, before the main road, there would be a little ruin of sorts. And in my frantic mind, I thought if I could maybe get to that ruin, I would be safe. This thing was crashing through the woods on my right, and I saw my life flash before my eyes. I saw the ruins, and I could have laughed in relief had the thing not been chuckling yet again. I could hear it starting to move in, and I jumped, dived, I fell into the foundation of this ruin. It was 4 walls with an open doorway that I ran into. I don't know why I thought I would be safe in there, but I think it to this day. I would have never made it home. The thing was just toying with me. It would have soon moved in, but as it was, as I turned around in the dirt and looked back to the doorway, I only saw fur. Not the brown red of coyotes, it was black and it was wiry looking. I didn't see a face, just the fur and these mangled legs. The joints didn't look quite right. They were like normal dog legs, but the joints were backwards. I would have thought it was going in the other direction, but it was clearly moving to the right when the legs were bent like it was going to the left. It growled, and it sounded meaner than the earlier growls. I expected to turn around and charge through the doorway at any minute, but it just circled the ruin before going back off into the woods. I didn't leave the ruin until a base police officer found me. She looked terrified. My dad recently told me that she had seen hoof prints that had paw pad prints mixed in with it, like some weird goat-wolf hybrid, and that she heard laughter behind her as she grabbed me and practically threw me into her truck. We didn't speak until we reached my house, where my parents were waiting to hug me and yell at me. I didn't tell them what chased me, but when my dad told me years later what the officer saw, I finally told him. I don't know what it was. The deformed legs made me think skinwalker. And every time we went riding after that, I would hear growling and catch glimpses of black fur in the woods. I don't know what it was, but I know for sure it was hunting me. One thing I still don't know is, why didn't it come into the ruin after me?